Hey, the middle school dropout. Get away from my wife. Returning from a long overseas business trip, I was reminiscing with my sales team when Daniel Johnson, our manager, threw cold coffee at me. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. Of course, I only graduated middle school, and to 35-year-old Daniel, I might seem like an old man. But just because of that, I can't ignore being insulted and having coffee thrown at me. I wiped the coffee off my face with a handkerchief. Nancy, who was clinging to me, turned an angry face towards Daniel. "What are you doing to my husband?" "What? What do you mean by that?" "I don't understand what you mean by wife. Enough already, my husband is James Taylor." Daniel had been harassing Nancy for a long time. "My name is James Taylor. I'm a 50-year-old in the sales department at Miller Trading's main office. When I say I work at Miller Trading, people often get envious. In these unstable times, working for a company with overseas branches like Miller Trading seems to guarantee a secure future. I actually feel incredibly fortunate to work at Miller Trading. However, it wasn't easy to get hired. For a large company like ours, a college degree is a basic requirement for employment. But I didn't have such an academic background. In fact, I stopped going to school in middle school. It wasn't because I hated studying or that I was bullied. My middle school had extremely strict rules, the kind that would be problematic for parents today. After spending easy time at elementary school, I started experiencing severe headaches and fatigue in the mornings, making it impossible to attend school. My worried parents took me to various hospitals, but no cause was found. Probably I could say I was just mentally weak at the time. Ultimately, I hardly attended middle school and couldn't go to high school. In those days of despair, I thought my life was over, but my uncle, Tom Taylor, reached out. He suggested I try doing jobs as an apprentice at Miller Trading, where he worked. Desperate for change, I accepted his offer and started working as an apprentice at Miller Trading's main office. I did everything from serving tea, cleaning the office and restrooms, making copies, to delivering messages to other departments. A major turning point was when my boss recognized my experience with computers from my time being out of school. I had mastered everything from complex spreadsheets to basic programming languages. And gradually, people at the company began to rely on me. After working steadily for 10 years, I became a full-time employee, leading to where I am today. I can't thank my uncle, Tom Taylor, enough. Though I didn't climb the corporate ladder or hold any positions, I now support those in senior roles from behind the scenes and have earned their trust. Being 50 and in the sales department at the main office is a privilege I couldn't have imagined during my reclusive and despairing past. Moreover, I had a place outside of work where I felt at ease. That place was online. Chatting with members of the same clan while playing online games, a hobby since my school days, became a big joy. Everyone uses screen names, doesn't disclose their age, and we don't know where each other lives. This anonymity provides a sanctuary for those worn out by real-life relationships. My screen name is King. Recently, a guy named Tiger joined our group and started bragging about his wife. For socially awkward guys like us with no connection to women, we are very envious. Hearing that a 50-year-old is addicted to online games might make you think he not only has no luck with women, but is also quite creepy. I keep my deep dive into online games a secret at work. In my uneventful life, it was as if an angel descended before me. A stunning presence named Nancy Miller, a 28-year-old employee. Nancy is the CEO's niece and joined our company after graduating from a prestigious university. She works seriously and earns the admiration of her colleagues. It's apparent she will step up to a significant position and build a successful career. She's not only beautiful, intelligent, and considerate, but also part of a family that runs a major corporation. Given our age difference, I had given up from the start on any chance with her. Other single male employees were trying various ways to win her favor. It seems Nancy found this attention annoying. Perhaps seeing me as safe since I didn't make any advances, she started seeking my advice. Though I've had some sort of romantic experiences, none have been successful, making me doubt if I was suitable to counsel Nancy. So, at night, I consulted my online friends on how to respond to her. Of course, I kept Nancy's identity secret to avoid any issues. Everyone gave serious advice, allowing me to provide Nancy precise guidance when I saw her the next day. As time went on, my feelings for Nancy grew stronger. However, there was a person who was unhappy about Nancy smiling only at me. That man was Daniel Johnson, the sales manager. Daniel is 35, single, a Harvard graduate, and he thinks he's the perfect match for Nancy. He constantly finds excuses to be with her and approaches her with blatant comments. I really don't like guys like him. It's good to be confident, but he's got no humility at all. I believe that humility is what helps people to grow. That's tough. Daniel is definitely a confident guy. If you don't like something, you should say it clearly. It's dangerous to turn him down when you're alone. So I'll always be there with you. Thank you, James. I'm scared of being left alone with him too often. Can I call you when that happens? I responded, of course. And we exchanged messaging apps. Even if she couldn't call out loud, she could now reach out to me. As we started communicating regularly, Nancy frequently sent me messages. Responding sincerely each time, I became more and more attracted to her personality. I struggled to suppress the strong feelings I hadn't felt in a long time. But eventually, Nancy also began to show her special feelings for me. Then, an opportunity for a long-term business trip abroad came up for me. The destination was Mexico, and I would be away from the US for 3 months. Being given such an important task would normally be motivating, but something was bothering me. It was such a big job for someone like me, with no degree and no position. Apparently, Daniel had orchestrated this assignment to separate me from Nancy. Nancy confided in me about her worries on how to deal with Daniel while I was away. James, I'm scared. I'm afraid Daniel will try something while you're gone. Even when I tell my uncle, he just says I'm being too sensitive. Daniel has always been favored by him, so it's useless. It's a problem if the CEO won't listen. I can't leave for the trip and leave you like this. We need to find a solution. After many discussions, we found a way to calm Nancy's concerns before I left for my trip to Mexico. Since Mexico is in the same time zone, I could still keep in touch with my friends back in the US as usual. Of course, I brought my game controller with me. In my hotel, I connected my computer to the internet and joined our chat. Whether I was in the US or Mexico, our conversations remained the same. I shared why I was in Mexico and asked if they knew any famous places or must-visit spots. I'm here in Mexico for work. Do you have any recommendations for good places to visit? I've never been abroad. The furthest I go is the local convenience store. That's an issue. While I'm not a complete shut-in, I'm not keen on traveling much either. During this time, only Tiger provided various information about Mexico. He had visited several times during his college years and shared tips about the best places to eat. I quickly noted down the restaurant names on my phone, planning to visit them the next day. Then, an unexpected question threw me off. Hey, do you work at Miller Trading by any chance? No way. If I worked at such a big company, I'd be living a much better life. I was internally panicking, but managed to deflect the question. Given the recent global events, Miller Trading's Mexico branch had frequently appeared in the news, so it might not have been a significant question. Still, I broke into a cold sweat, thinking I might have been exposed. Meanwhile, back in the US, Nancy decided not to go to the office while I was away. This caused a stir in the sales department, but any potential problems would have been worse. Daniel was troubled by Nancy's absence and repeatedly tried to contact her. Nancy told me she couldn't block his calls and was feeling anxious. Worried about Nancy, I worked hard to finish my tasks as quickly as possible. Exceeding my goals, I managed to cut my trip short, returning home in 2 months instead of the planned 3. When I returned to the office, the entire sales team welcomed me with smiles. The results I had achieved were also a big win for the sales department, and everyone was delighted. Nancy, who had been on leave, also came to celebrate my return. Getting carried away, Nancy jumped into my arms and wrapped her arms around my neck. Seeing this, Daniel approached with an angry face. "Hey, the middle school dropout, get away from my wife." Daniel then threw cold coffee at my face. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. Sure, I only graduated middle school, and to 35-year-old Daniel, I might seem like an old man. But that didn't justify being insulted and having coffee thrown at me. I couldn't just stand by and take it. Daniel's outburst caused an uproar in the sales department. One of the stronger employees restrained Daniel, making it impossible for him to move. This wasn't the welcome back party I had expected. "James, are you okay? Did you get burned?" Nancy asked, concerned. "Daniel, what are you doing? That's dangerous. And above all, it's incredibly rude to James." Nancy, who had been hugging me with her back turned, didn't immediately understand what had happened. Seeing the commotion and looking at my face, she finally realized the situation. I tried to reassure everyone by smiling. "It's okay, it was just lukewarm coffee, and luckily I wasn't wearing an expensive suit. Still, your shirt is stained. You should take it off and wash it quickly." One of the female employees said, "I'll go buy a replacement shirt nearby," and rushed out of the office. But what did Daniel mean by calling Nancy his wife? "What do you mean, wife? When did Nancy become your wife?" "Shut up. Nancy is my precious wife. There's no man who loves her more seriously than I do." There are people, particularly in the otaku community, who love something so much that they call it their wife. While I'm not an otaku, I know there are those who genuinely love 2D characters, dolls, or figures, and refer to them as their wife. Given my long-standing familiarity with this, it didn't seem so strange to me. However, for Nancy and the other employees, Daniel's behavior was nothing but creepy. Restrained, Daniel's face turned redder than usual as he struggled. I wiped the coffee off my face with a handkerchief. Luckily, the coffee was cold, so I didn't get burned, and none got in my eyes. Nancy, still clinging to me with one arm around my neck, glared angrily at Daniel. Finally, she said something that Daniel would find unbelievable. "Hey, what are you doing to my husband?" "What, husband? What do you mean by that?" "I don't understand what you mean by wife. Enough already, my husband is James Taylor." Daniel looked at Nancy and me in shock, alternately staring at us. "No way, but you have different last names. Nancy still has her maiden name, and I never heard about James changing his name. We kept it secret so no one would notice. I found it incredibly creepy." Nancy's sudden confession shocked the other employees as well. They immediately started questioning us about the truth. "Nancy, when did you marry James?" "Just before James went to Mexico. I'm sorry for keeping it a secret. I was afraid of situations like this and avoided coming to work." There was a reason for Nancy's absence while James was away. Seeing Daniel's behavior now, it was the right decision. Everyone understood why we kept our marriage a secret. Daniel's obsession with Nancy was obviously abnormal. It's easy to imagine he wanted to push me away to get closer to Nancy. At this point, it's okay to tell the truth. Holding Nancy tightly, I began explaining to the sales team. "Nancy and I got married when my overseas assignment was confirmed. I never thought I'd get married at 50, so life is full of surprises. And to a woman 28 years younger, who is also the CEO's niece. Initially, we were prepared for strong opposition, and Nancy even considered eloping. However, both her parents and her uncle, the CEO, respected my work and supported our marriage. Nancy grew up in a free-spirited household, making her independent. She consulted her family when applying to schools and joining the company, but she made the final decisions herself. I didn't join the company to have an easy time under my uncle. I joined because our company values diversity. James, aren't you glad you joined our company too? Sure, I didn't graduate from high school, but I never felt inferior about my education. Our company values our achievements and efforts more than our past. I'm really glad I joined this company. That's right, and besides, if you had joined another company, we might never have met, right? Nancy was absolutely right. There were many reasons to be glad I joined Miller Trading, but the biggest was meeting Nancy. With our family's understanding, we planned to marry as soon as possible. If Nancy stayed single, Daniel's behavior could get worse. Nancy had enjoyed her single life, living alone until now. But it would be risky if there was distance between us when she needed protection. So, she moved into my apartment just before my trip. We went to the city hall at night and submitted our marriage registration. The next day, I left for Mexico. We decided to wait until I returned to announce our marriage to avoid Daniel's potential outrage. Even living apart, we felt like newlyweds. We kept our smartphones on video chat, constantly showing each other our rooms. Whether cleaning, cooking, or watching TV, we stayed online together. We didn't talk much, but it felt like we were in the same room. This kind of online cohabitation is something many couples experience. For couples like us who live apart, it's a perfect way of life. On weekends, I'd take my smartphone and explore tourist spots and popular shops in Mexico. I'd buy clothes or accessories that Nancy liked and send them to the US. Nancy would wear the items and show me through her phone. It felt like we weren't far apart at all. It was like we were both in Mexico together, enjoying our newlywed life. Even though we couldn't physically hold hands, we knew we'd make up for the time apart once the business trip was over. Being apart only intensified our feelings for each other. After spending those days together virtually, I safely returned home, and now here I am, holding my new wife and explaining everything to everyone. While we considered not having a wedding ceremony, Nancy's parents were eager for a reception, so we decided to honor their wishes. Soon, you'll all receive invitations to our reception, so please attend. Seeing Nancy and me embracing happily, Daniel stood there in shock and anger. Honestly, I felt no guilt, only satisfaction, as I proudly displayed my love for Nancy. That said, I didn't hold any particular grudge against Daniel, but Nancy, who had been harassed extensively, felt differently. Nancy reported the coffee incident to her uncle, the CEO. The CEO summoned Daniel and gave him a severe warning. Then, a surprising fact came to light. I had been busy preparing to return home and had stayed away from online gaming for a while, during which a small issue arose. It turned out that Tiger, our chat buddy, was actually Daniel. Daniel had somehow suspected this from my King comments. But when my Mexico trip coincided with his timing, he realized he had been chatting with me all along. I was King's boss. That guy, a subordinate, stole my wife. The night Daniel learned I was married to Nancy, he revealed his identity and raged about his wife being stolen by a subordinate. Despite other members trying to calm him down, Daniel's repeated violent comments led the admin to disband our clan. Nighttime online gaming had been my solace, so it was tough not being able to chat with the same group. Since then, I have placed more value on the real world. However, Daniel became more engrossed in online gaming, hopping from clan to clan. According to a user who happened to meet him again, Daniel boasted about marrying his wife in various clans, making other users envious. In the real world, Daniel lost Nancy, and only the online world was kind to Tiger. Online gaming involves sharing the same time frame, so it's often hard to find time to chat with friends if your schedules don't align. This is a major issue because coordinating times is essential for talking and planning clan activities. Getting too involved can mean sacrificing your own time to fit others' schedules. Many users end up sleep deprived or find it affecting their work. Daniel preferred clans that were active during the day, so he frequently missed work. Nancy and I held a grand wedding reception at the most luxurious hotel in the area, surrounded by well-wishers. People often say I'm marrying up. And in a way, they're right. Not only did I marry the CEO's niece, but my consistent hard work was recognized, and I was promoted to sales manager. Daniel had lost his managerial position a while ago. Due to his frequent absences, Daniel was eventually demoted to a regular employee. Had he shown more commitment by returning to work and putting in the effort, things might have been different. However, his continued absences angered the CEO, leading to Daniel's dismissal. A while later, Daniel came to retrieve his belongings from the office. I tried to be courteous, but Daniel refused to speak to me. According to other employees, Daniel said he had no plans to work in an office again and would rely on investments to make a living. It's outdated to work hard for someone else. I'll make a fortune soon and start a business overseas. Whether he was serious or it was just his final bravado, I never saw Daniel again after that. Even if it wasn't me, anyone would be curious about what happened to Daniel. A former colleague kept track of Daniel's whereabouts and reported back to me. In short, there was no good news about Daniel. Daniel was a complete amateur when it came to investments. Word got out that he was a clueless man with money wandering the internet, and many enticing offers started coming his way. Daniel believed these impossible promises and poured large sums of money into them. However, he became easy prey for unscrupulous people and quickly lost his money. Eventually, he ran out of savings and turned to borrowing money. Nowadays, online games require spending money to fully enjoy them. Trying to make his avatar look cooler and stronger, Daniel spent all the borrowed money on these games. His avatar became incredibly impressive, but his personality drove new friends away soon after meeting them. Despite this, the online world was the only place where Daniel could live freely. Daniel completely immersed himself in online games, forgetting about eating and sleeping. After several days without eating, Daniel was found collapsed at his home by his worried mother. He was taken to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with malnutrition. Fearing he would repeat the same mistakes even after recovering, his parents brought him back to their home. The first thing they tried was cutting Daniel off from the internet, taking away his smartphone. Completely removing the internet connection from their home is a difficult decision in these days. Despite the inconvenience to themselves, they made this choice, hoping it would help their son recover. Daniel, unable to play his beloved online games, now spends his days in isolation. We can only hope he will eventually recover and lead a normal life. A year has passed since then. Nancy and I welcomed our first son into the world. I never imagined I'd become a father at 51. We named our son Yuma, after consulting with Nancy's parents. We chose the name with the hope that he will grow up to be a kind and brave man. I am filled with gratitude for Nancy. What I can do is to protect and support my family. With the addition of a new family member, I am more motivated at work and achieving great results. There is proposal of me becoming the branch manager in Singapore, and if it becomes official, I plan to move there with my family. I want to show Yuma the various worlds out there and support him in choosing his own path. Life is challenging, and everyone faces setbacks to some degree. I believe that the role of family is to support each other and guide each other to the next steps. When I faced setbacks in middle school, my uncle's support saved me. This makes me grateful to my family and eager to teach Yuma that it's possible to overcome failures. Nancy remains cheerful and energetic, often saying she wants 2 more children. When Yuma turns 20, I'll be 71. I want to stay healthy, live long, and be there for him as much as possible. Right now, I am experiencing the happiest time of my life.